Hello, and a good evening to you this evening. I hope that you had a wonderful day. I know that I did. It was a gloriously sunny day after the storms yesterday, and I did some yard mowing. Been doing a lot of that lately. But this evening, we're here to talk about the perfect business model. So, good evening. My name is Jeffrey, and I'm here to share some words and wits of wisdom from Mr. Mufara from a webinar that he did last Wednesday. How many of us have wasted time looking for things? I mean, sometimes we lose sight of what we're looking for, while other times, we look for things and they turn out to be right in front of us. Well, in the marketing world, people do that too. People look for things. We call them opportunities, right? Just like some of us know what we're looking for, a lot of us don't. So we just want something, anything that works anyway, a business. And with that in mind, we think working from home sounds good because of the promise of the freedom for time and finance and that sort of thing. So we go online and we search using all the regular search lines in our favorite search engine, and then we find something that seems to be worth looking into, right? Well, after spending some time and effort and probably some money, we decide, all right, we're going to give it a shot. So then we commit to sticking around to it at least long enough to get to the break-even point. So we work the plan. And that's what we're looking for. A business that we can call our own that provides income and freedom sufficient for our desires. Well, that's what this video is about, knowing what to look for and recognizing it when we find it. To be more effective at finding and managing an opportunity that works for us, we need to know how to look for a good business, what the markers are. Well, in his search a few years back, the CEO of Onpassive, Mr. Ash Mufara, couldn't find an opportunity for a business model that actually worked with the ethical intensity he wanted. So, he set out to learn what was really needed for online business success. He turned to universities to search for his answers. But his search didn't really yield any programs that offered a degree. Nothing in network or digital marketing anyway, not even an associate's degree. But he did find courses of study through Harvard offering conceptual instruction for internet business, and as you may imagine from the word conceptual, those classes taught a whole lot of theory. So he paid the tuition, took the classes, and the newfound understanding of internet business concepts gave him the confidence that he needed to begin his search for the perfect internet business model. And as one would expect, Mr. Mufara took that training and applied the logic of it to come up with a fundamental recipe for the best internet business model in theory. This is because, as he's quick to tell us, he just didn't have the working knowledge. But he took what he had and he started off to create what he could not find, a real and sustainable business model that reflected his high standards and his personality. One of the first things he came to realize in the world of internet business was, despite what some may think, there is no one-size-fits-all, but there are basic foundations that are required for success. And this is to say that there are basic ingredients needed to succeed in online business, and Mr. Mufara set out to find it and to boil it all down to nothing but the bare essentials. What we're about to talk about came about as a result of a webinar from August 19th, 2020 that Mr. Mufara was the guest speaker on, and what follows are some of the points that he covered on what to look for in an objective, logical, and scientific way once we found a company that we want to look at to get involved with. The first thing he talked about was a product. He says a business has got to provide a real product or service. Well, he'll be the first one to tell you that he paid a lot of money in past opportunities before he knew what he was doing that didn't have squat for products or services. Ultimately, they were garbage and of no real value, which meant the opportunity was unethical to start with. Now, some of those just took his money and time without providing anything of value. Well, live and learn, right? Hey, I've been there. So right off the bat, we don't want to join anything without being clear on what the product offering is and how it's used. This is to say that, to be clear, the product is real and it's got to be usable. The product has also got to be attainable and a solution to something. In other words, there has to be a need for it and it has to be affordable. To discern this, we're going to have to look at the demographics of the products. Incidentally, Demographics is just a 10-cent word denoting statistical data related to a population and groups in that population concerning the use of a product. Another word we use is niche. We want to understand the niche or the place for the product, which is usually related to the use of the product by particular groups to gauge whether the product is legitimate and can be tied to customer need and experience. It's also good to think about the message the sale of the product is sending. Are you selling self-help memory books that make people feel like they're stupid? Hey, I'm just saying. The next thing we talked about was leadership. It was a biggie. So, what does the leadership in a company look like? Well, the leadership is going to effectively, or ultimately actually, reflect the quality of the business, right? So we need to look at the leadership. And I don't mean just the CEO. I mean, we need to look at all of it. We want to know if the company is run by real people doing real work. What's the reputation held by them individually? What's the reputation collectively? Is it a one-man show? Does it have real leadership that has the wherewithal to develop, package, and deliver its products? Does the leadership act with authenticity, transparency? How about experience? Do they have experience? Are they proven? And is there vision? In theory, I suppose we could have companies that are led by the blind leading the blind, but I think you'd have to agree that the model of that business is probably not the best one out there. However, about reliability, can we trust them? Can we even find them? Do they have actual names and are they proud of what they're doing? How does the leadership speak about the business and the work being done? How do they speak about others? Is the leadership kind? Are they caring? Are they likable? Is leadership resting on their laurels of past glories? I knew some of them. In the military, we had a term for people that were just showing up, biding their time, collecting a paycheck, and doing the bare minimum. We called them Road Scholars, R-O-A-D. It stood for Retired on Active Duty. And to me, Road Scholars are the epitome of the Peter Principle. And this is a concept in management developed by a guy by the name of Lawrence J. Peter, which observes that people in a hierarchy, for example, a corporate environment, tend to rise to their own level of incompetence. Yeah, incompetence. Put simply, this means employees are promoted based on their success in previous jobs until they reach a level at which they are no longer competent. They reach a level where the job is above their expertise, mainly because skills in one job do not adequately carry over to another. So trust me, we do not want these people running our business. Not like that, we don't. Sitting in positions that they can't fulfill. Anyway, our business is only going to grow to the height of our leadership, and if that leadership is not learning and growing, the business will not learn and grow either. So, John Maxwell, he said it pretty good, and he's an American author and a leadership teacher. He says a business will operate below the leadership level. He refers often to what he calls the law of the lid. Mr. Mufareh mentioned that, and it basically says that the ability of leadership is the lid that determines a person's level of effectiveness. In other words, the lower an individual's ability is to lead, the lower the lid on his potential. The higher the ability to lead, the higher the lid on the potential. This means if our leadership stays at 7 or operates at 7 continually, our business will never surpass 7. Leaders are made through experience, and to continue to be leaders, we have to continue growing and growing our own experience. Okay, so on to number 3, math. Now, when we talk about math, we're really talking mostly about the pay structure. That pay structure is a key structure, by the way. It's a vital element to our success. We have to run the math to make sure that the model is fair and rewarding. So what do we look for in a pay plan? Well, first thing to look for is residual income. In other words, are we able to get paid for the work that's done that can be automated so we're paid for it residually over and over again? Because if the income is dependent on working constantly and the pay is based on what is done personally by the worker at the time it's done, we don't want that. A plan like that means as work performance fluctuates, like missing days of work because of illness or family matters or going on vacation, our pay is also going to reflect that, usually by destabilizations and notable decreases. So the model's got to employ residual methods of income. And it needs to be unlimited. Shouldn't have a cap on how much we can earn, right? This is huge. I mean, hey, if you know Ash, you know that when he does something, he goes all in and he does not place limitations, caps on the outcome. So if our production is unlimited, which is available through leveraging our efforts in automation, why on earth would we ever have a pay plan that would be limited? If you find a business with a pay plan that has caps, walk away. We don't want limits. And that doesn't make us greedy, by the way, because the residual income that we're going to be making is not necessarily for us. It's also for what we can do with it for others, so it's got to be scalable and unlimited. And how about the market cap? Does it match the pay structure? In other words, does the number of customers using the product sustain the promised or expected payouts, or will the entire market get reached and become saturated before we ever earn what we want or what we expect? The market cap has got to be in line with the demographics and the pay structure. Saying it another way, the number of product users must be accurately reflected in the statistical data of the population and its groups so it can effectively support the pay structure. Well, let me try it again. To put it in the simplest of terms, we need to make sure there's enough product users to provide earning that we want. So let's talk a little bit about corporate structure. Is the model debt-free with good capital? Are they well budgeted? Or are they building the company at the expense of the affiliate? I mean, I don't want to pay for a company if I'm not going to earn anything, right? Does it have an identity? Are they licensed or have they registered the business? Is the domain registered short-term or long-term? These are all questions that we want to ask so we can ascertain the financial capability of the company. Ideally, we want a company that's financially independent, that can handle the money and is not borrowing to fund their own activity. They should be generously funded. And there has to be solid, structured foundation without worry about having to restructure. Because when they restructure, I guarantee you, you're going to lose it all. Okay, number 5 is support. You know, if we get into an issue and we need help, we need support, who do you call? Who are you going to talk to? It doesn't matter how, email, text, Skype, phone. I mean, the whole point is when we need help, can we readily get answers from a real service, or are we going to have to rely on an FAQ page or limited information or very limited time that we're able to get the information we want? I mean, we should understand that it's our right as customers, as affiliates, to get proper support for the issues that come up regarding the business that we partnered with, a business that we're building. And if we don't have real people to reach out to for communicating the issues, well, if there's no real people that we can get help from that aren't rude, that don't give us grief or complain or act like our issues are an imposition on them, then we need to walk away. You gotta have support, good support. And the better the support, the better the business. The 6th point is technology, because simply we need technology. And through technology, automation. We're looking for new, innovative technology that gives us some automation. And the technology has to be doing the vast majority of the heavy lifting, so to speak, the bulk of the activity. We have to understand what the tech is, too. Is it new, proprietary even? Or is it the same wore-out copycat code we saw in the last generation? Automation. That's what we need. Is it custom? Can they produce sustainable, reliable tech that gives customizable and scalable tools needed for our business? Or do we have to do coding or manually enter data that can't be automatically computed? If we do, walk away. It's not a duplicatable system. Today's tech is much more sophisticated. It should serve us, and the company behind it has to be able to scale it as needed. This brings us, the scalability anyway, to the next point, the 7th one, which is global. The business must have a global reach, and it's got to reflect an unlimited demographic and market cap that goes with that kind of a reach. The point being, along with a bigger demographic and margins, we don't want to be limited geographically and have our freedom stifled. A global reach does not limit us as we reach into the market. When it's global, it can have the humanitarian bond and unity we're looking for as well. We do not want to be restricted or limited to the elite or any other different group or any other company. There should be no discrimination in that everybody on earth should have the opportunity to join a good business with real products and feel good about it. So number 8, legal. Is the business legal? Is it registered? Is it licensed? Man, it's got to be legitimate, and it can't be getting in trouble all the time either, okay? So it can't be a hack. The reputation and history of the company matters, and it's got to be legal in everything that they do. Another item we'd want to look at is the word solution. What issue does this business or its product solve? Most products that are successful, sustainable, and scalable are always going to provide a solution to an issue, and the solution has to be based on feedback from real customers about their needs and their experience. And last, but very important to me, is the fun factor. Is the business fun? Can you have some fun with it? Do we like those people that we work with? Are we invigorated by the business, by the company? How do the people in the business treat you? Are they fun? Well, a business needs to be respectfully fun and rather enjoyable. So, there it is. When looking at an opportunity to join a business, we need to match what we see against the points that we were just talking about. But let's not fool ourselves. We can certainly love our business, but we're not in the business for love, right? We're in it to win. We're in it to make money. We're in it for prosperity. This is to say that we are in it for quality of life, and money is certainly a part of that. But if we stick to the standards that we give in here, we can find that company. Fortunately, and I do say fortunately because of the end result, about 3 years ago, Mr. Mufara realized the type of company he was looking for, it simply wasn't available. It didn't exist. So he decided to create the perfect business using the points we just mentioned, because the only way for people to have a business like that, one worth keeping for the rest of their lives and to leave as a legacy to their families, was to create it. So Mr. Mufara came up with a model that fulfills the specific criteria that we outlined here, a company that meets and exceeds the high ethical standards of that criteria. Now enter Onpassive. Onpassive is that tech and that company. Onpassive has created the only business in the world that will provide a predictable, leveraged business all the way. The model and the work for those that practice the business. Yes, it's all provided. Onpassive, like the name implies, has done all the tech, the company, everything. And people can piggyback on our success regardless of the background or abilities they have. The only thing that does matter is our desire for success and serving others. That's pretty simple. Wouldn't you agree? It's a business that is designed to bring out the best in those who join and for those around those who join. Don't we all want a real business? A better lifestyle with total peace of mind? In the words of Mr. Mufara, Onpassive is a company to join, quote, for once, for good, for all, unquote. We have done it by design. This is a miracle business model, and it has all the attributes that we've mentioned here and more. We built the technology. It's proprietary, well known, and here to stay. It's scalable. It has leverage, and the pay plan is unlimited. This is so fair. It's not only not complicated and limited, it's simple. This has all been made possible and all brought to us with heart, with meaning, with purpose, to serve humanity with compassion. It's the perfect business model. If we can't succeed with Onpassive, then we have a near zero chance of ever being successful online. You know, a large majority still don't get just how big this thing is, how it's going to work. That's okay though. We know what we're doing. So if you're a founder, good on you. If you're not a founder, but you like the message of this video, then you belong with us. Please get back with whoever invited you here to listen to this, join their team. But if you've not been invited and you want to join with me and my team, then I would certainly ask that you would do that, and I would certainly appreciate you doing that. So just click on the link in the description box below. But regardless of what you choose to do right now, you can use the information in this video to pick whatever business you want. But I'm letting you know, Onpassive is the only business that has ever met all these criterion in one business. So I wish blessings and blessings upon you and your family, and hope that all that you do is successful.